In a place of countless lessons, at first it appeared this one would be survival. In a matter of moments, that changed.
It's just a wonderful church. The people are caring, loving,
Hope crashing with each falling piece.
You can feel the power of God in our church. People come to visit because this is just wonderful. Not felt that in other churches.
Fire trucks everywhere.
The church has been around for centuries, but Steve Mize joined just 5 years ago.
I didn't expect to have this kind of emotion. It's a building, but it's also a home.
And just when it seemed so much was lost, something was found. Comfort in each other.
I can't believe the emotion this is bringing up. To just stand here helplessly and watch it burn.
Determined to make sense of it all.
Maybe this is Lord's way of giving us a new church, a bigger one, a better one.
Yes, He'll provide.
And then Pat Udy remembered something more. One of the few things saved from the church lobby.
It shows us that Christ will help us get through. We still have that picture and that hope.
And in that picture, Steve Mize finds another.
Where God sees the big picture at all times, we see just small portions of that big picture, and it don't make any sense to us. But to Him, it makes perfect sense, and I think maybe that's what this is all about.
A building lost, but around here, hope would not go out.
First, there was just like a loud boom noise.
We were up in the house and we heard a loud boom.
I thought it was like a tire on the highway.
So I came running out and looking around to see what it was.
Troy Moore almost missed it.
As I was turning to walk away, I saw the tire of the car sticking out of the water. And I walked over to make sure I saw it.
His wife called 911, and all of this soon followed. But for a few long moments, it was just Troy Moore and a haunting sound.
And all I could hear was just like a muffled sound, like, you know, and you couldn't understand anything.
He knew that meant somebody in this car was alive.
I was banging on it so I could hear the guy in there.
Always hoping for the best, that you can get there in time.
They were able to get one person out of the car. The person was unconscious.
Emergency workers tried to save him.
I prayed that he was still alive.
But it was too late, and crews faced another problem.
Just making sure that they've got everybody out and that there's nobody else in the water.
Very dark, murky, zero visibility.
Eventually, they decided nobody else was in the car, but it wasn't over. What happened here will be around a long time in the memories of those who saw it.
Usually for a couple days, at least.
If I see this and this just happened and I don't know how he ran off the road or whatever, I'll be more cautious.
Aaron Hartness, WYFF News 4, Greenville County.
It could be seen for miles.
This is my job here. Oh, God, please, I didn't want it to be on fire.
It's my engine 11.
On the ground, crews rushed to gain control.
Popping and booms. Yeah, we got some chemicals in there, some car chemicals. It started getting a little scary.
It's real dangerous because you don't know, what happens when they all start mixing together, producing the toxins that come off of that, making the fire burn a lot hotter.
Crews from Whitney, Cherokee Springs, Hilltop, and other surrounding areas battle the fire, but they say it will take a while for it to burn out. Meanwhile, for those who worked here, it's a sight they thought they'd never see.
It's certainly a disappointment for everyone, the employees, for us, but it's something we'll work through.
Everyone here is just thankful no one was hurt and that they were able to save a dozen cars in the process.
Me and the guys had to pull the cars out. You know, it wasn't that bad at that time. It was only the right thing to do.
Dwayne Muse says he just started working here.
Terrible, terrible. My house in New Jersey just burned down. That's why I moved here. So it seems like fire's a real terrible thing and following me around.
Now he worries about what's next.
I just moved here. I've been here 3 months. Real nice people. They took care of me real nice. Now this.
By the look of things, he's sure it will take a while before things are back to normal. Latoya Silman, WYFF News 4.
At the reflecting pool before the King Memorial, the faces of the future paid tribute to the past
Miss Coretta Scott King was a very important person, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her.
Napoleon Hillman is only 9 years old.
I've been on camera Martin Luther King's grave.
But like many of the children at the memorial,
I'm glad I didn't live back then.
he knows well the lessons taught by generations before him.
Violence is like bad, and you can go to jail for that.
His father passes on those lessons.
I believe in peace myself. I always try to teach them about peace and the rest of the world.
Coretta Scott King was a pioneer for peace during a time of racial clash.
She brought people together by getting them and having walks and talks.
She carried on calls for nonviolence even after her husband's killing. Now it is the next generation.
It's good to tell about important information.
To carry on the light of peace for years to come.
On Highway 183 in Easley, the oil change business is getting a makeover.
Everyone likes to see the good-looking technicians.
Dipstick Fast Lube is like most other places, except the only men you'll see here are customers.
We get a lot of male customers. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that.
Welcome to the first all-female oil and lube establishment in the country. Owned, operated, and staffed by women.
Now, my nail technician hates it.
And yes, they've heard it all.
The customer this morning, he goes, "You do know what you're doing, right?" I said, "No, we put the oil in the gas tank."
But this is serious business, says Lori Miller, who came up with the idea, even that name.
And mainly why I chose it is because of the lipstick emblem.
And she may have chosen the perfect marketing tool. Dipstick Fast Lube has seen 1,200 customers since the store first opened in April.
You can't complain. Can't ask for more.
Loyal repeat customers.
We have a guy that shows up every day and buys a drink out of our machine. We have a lot of that, actually.
But if you think it's a place that attracts only male customers, think again. Women like to bring their cars here too, but for a very different reason.
You can probably guess the answer to this one.
She's not going to take advantage of me and tell me lies, and I need this done and I need that done.
They are so popular, Miller is thinking about opening a chain of all-girl stores. Because where else can you find service like this?
Put the date and we put a heart on it. Our signature filter.
Tim Waller, WYFF News 4, Pickens County.
It's a classic teenage moment, high school graduation day, hanging out with friends in the final moments.
I have some great friends, and they've been like my stand-in family.
Senior David Sen has grown close to his classmates. He spent a lot of time at his best friend's house.
I even call their mom my mom.
David lost his own mother to cancer when he was 12.
It happened very suddenly, so there was a lot of shock when it happened.
What's more, his dad works for a company in China and is gone most of the year. Starting in 8th grade, David lived alone.
Without an adult in the house, I guess it's harder for me when I was younger to manage my time wisely, go to bed at the right time, do my homework when I was supposed to. And so I think my first couple years in school were kind of shaky, and I fall asleep a lot in class because I'd stay up so late.
In middle school, he was left with adult responsibility, cooking for himself, even baking birthday cakes, paying bills, yard work, doing the family's taxes.
I have a new sympathy for adults, I guess. There's a lot of things that adults and parents have to do that I really didn't know about until I had to do it myself.
David was able to translate that adult work ethic into high school success. Greenville County Student of the Year, college scholarships to Georgetown, and a perfect 1600 on the SAT. He knows his mom would be proud.
My father told me stories about in college how my mom was the hard worker and he was the frat boy partier. And so he always encouraged me to be like my mom, not like him.
A son finding a role model in a memory.
Lots of things that I think I feel real sad that she's going to miss out on, and today's definitely one of those days.
A student succeeding in spite of setbacks.
David Borchow Send.
Grown up long before graduation. Beth Brotherton, WYFF News 4.
3. Welcome to Slayton Field, home of the Patriots. They'll be taking on the Union Yellow Jackets tonight.
For some of you, this might be the last 2 games you ever play.
Very few Russian orphan boys ever even get near the language of American football.
We understand?
Yes, sir. It's game time, dog.
He had never been to a football game until he played in his first one.
Here I am right now.
All right, here we go, guys.
Not long ago, number 2 there couldn't dream of how it feels getting to play.
He just doesn't let anybody quit.
He's all about fun.
You know, when they're out there, it's just like another kid out there. You don't even notice. He's just a little shorter, that's all.
Coach Max Clymer and J.L. Mann High School sure never dreamed of a Siberian nose guard
I'm not scared of anything.
Come on, defense!
who weighs 95 pounds.
Boom, 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 coach like, he can play football. I was like, for real?
He has a way of just being contagious.
He wants the ball. He wants the ball.
Coss Benham is a 17-year-old ninth grader. He dresses out for the C team. That's football for high school beginners.
All right, Kosh, going in those. Okay, Coach.
Watch number 2 get in the game, and you understand
Once you get past the initial shock,
how the biggest heart on the field
you don't even notice that he doesn't have legs.
can fit into the smallest young man.
When the first time I came to the spring practice, my coach like, what position you want to play? Running back.
He is a football player, and he plays. I mean, getting a fumble, that's not a joke. He did that.
That and more. In his first season, Coss recovered 2 fumbles, made solo tackles, played so fast the boys with legs had to double team him.
Kosh is making the play by having 2 guys block.
A world away from the heartbreaks that might have crushed the soul of a man.
You just can't look at Coase and feel sorry for him. You can look at him and wish you could be more like him.
Kim Benham first caught sight of him in 2003.
Hey, Kostya.
Everybody started smiling. Big smile.
A group calling itself the Hope Program
I can tell one thing about America, they smile too much.
had brought Coss to America from a Russian orphanage to get him a pair of prosthetic legs. Kim and her house were to become his American good fortune for just a few weeks.
When I went upstairs, I was like, wow, I never see that kind of stuff in an orphanage.
One's 12.
The family fell in love.
My first thought was, I love this kid. I love this kid. I knew at that moment.
Kim soon made Coss her 5th adopted child. Gave him the home, the game.
I pretend the guy who pushed me out of the train, I pretend it's him and I get mad and I just hit people.
The life he never would have known had a couple of Siberian trains not taken just about everything he had. Coss lost his birth mother early in life. She died in a train accident when he was just 6 years old. 3 years later, when he was 9, he and a friend from school decided to hop a train just for fun. He says that boy pushed him that day. Coss fell under the train, and soon both legs were gone.
And it was painful.
Back then, his birth father decided he couldn't care for such a boy. Sent Coss miles away to that orphanage full of disabled children to keep learning to do without what most people take for granted.
Sometimes I wish I could ride a bike or run, play soccer, but mostly I'm happy about it. I'm happy that happened to me and God sent me down here, be with this wonderful family, go to school, get education and everything. I'm happy about it. Ooh, I can run now, baby!
Carrying around that attitude in America
Look at me, yeah, I'm running back from now on, baby.
has made Coss Benham a big man on more than one campus.
Told him I was flying in a specialist.
When Coach Tommy Bowden of Clemson heard about J.L. Mann's high school wonder boy,
He'll be successful in life, whatever he does.
he knew the scholarship players ought to get a look at some inspiration in motion.
He's maxed out on what he's given, and if I could get these guys to max out on what they're given like he has, then I can win a lot of games.
Coss has become a picture of American abundance, complete with a favorite teenage phrase,
"What's up?"
and a short answer to what's up with the love of football.
To hit people.
Understand the meaning of principles.
But he studies because he wants more for some people he loves.
I will buy me a big house, about 5 or 6 rooms.
You didn't tell me the answer you came up with, Coach.
Planning and visions are principles. True.
Coss wants a college education and a good American job so he can bring as many of those Russian orphans as he can to live with him here.
They're basically like my brothers. I have a lot of family. School's my family, home my family, orphanage my family.
Far beyond that orphanage, a young man without legs has taken a stand for family he's found.
They're on to carry for the Patriots.
Showing some ball players
Into the end zone touchdown.
and the world around it
He's not forgotten where he came from.
Yeah, you inspiration, all right?
Thank you, sir.
how to live beyond limits.
Nothing surprises me.
I want them everybody keep their head up.
How to stand up to life.
I mean, he's going to do nothing but get better.
Click on JL.
Finding yourself unarmed in the battle against spyware? Well, with all the annoying viruses and identity theft threats out there, it's a good idea to get some protection ASAP.
Now, is it the red wire or the blue wire? Hurry!
But don't worry, it's not the end of the world. There's a ton of anti-spy software available on the market, and I checked with my top secret contacts to find the best one.
Norton Antivirus and also WebRoot Spy Sweeper.
One of the best we've ever used is WebRoot Spy Sweeper.
In my unofficial poll, WebRoot Spy Sweeper seems to be an effective weapon, although there's always a ton of free stuff available on the web. But fighting against spyware is more than just going out and buying software. Being prepared is also important, like downloading the latest updates to your antivirus and spyware software. And it's good to have a backup program. The Spy Sweeper on my Yahoo toolbars caught stuff even the big programs have missed.
I said shaken, not stirred.
And anybody sending you email you're not familiar with, don't open any attachments. Don't click on those crummy advertisements either, because a lot of times that's how spyware gets on your machine.
These simple steps should help keep your computer clean, and it'll free up your time for when more important computer issues arise.
This disk will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
I told him from the time he was little, if you can't defend this country, you don't deserve to be here. Jimmy joined in the middle of his senior year. He was scared, but he was so courageous. He stood for everything that was right about this country. He believed in what he was doing, and we believed in what he was doing. He was worried before he went that he wouldn't be able to make it through boot camp, but he did. He was fine about going. He wanted to go. I told him every time I talked to him, you say a prayer in the morning before your feet hit that floor, and you say a prayer at night before your head hits that pillow. I think he was doing a little bit more praying than that even. I adored him from the moment he was born, and he was always so proud to be a Marine. That was all he needed to know, was that he was doing the right thing. He was always trying to protect his mama. At first it hit us, and now we're just numb. And in the spring, we were going to build our new home and move on to our farm. And instead, we get to bury our son. He's going to be buried back in the woods. And it's going to be peaceful. It's going to be beautiful. And he's going to be right there with us. I wanted my baby close. He just always tried to do his best for other people. And that's what he was doing. I wouldn't change a thing, because God knows what's best. We don't. One of the last things he told me was he loved me. I would love to have him back. He was my baby.
What you consider computer trash can be fixed up and become someone else's electronic treasure.
Now we can give computers a second life. It's like a brand new computer to them.
But a lot of your personal information, your identity, is stored right inside your computer.
People have their bank accounts, they have statements on there, they have passwords saved, social security numbers, there's all kinds of things that you wouldn't want someone to get a hold of.
It's just older, so we're updating everything. I mean, it just gets to a point where a couple of years later down the road, they're just not worth fixing anymore, because you can go buy another one.
So when you get ready to get rid of that old box, you'd empty it, right? Erase your electronic existence?
Just basically go in a lot of times in the programs, and it'll let you delete programs.
To see if the data is really deleted.
There you go.
All right, thanks. We took the computer to the guys at the computer clinic.
If you just delete the file, I'll guarantee I can get it back.
He didn't disappoint. It took the techs only 10 minutes to hit the cyber stash.
These are really personal messages, everything from emails to email addresses to it looked like financial information. They apparently were using Microsoft Money, pictures to their email address book.
Pulling all this from one PC is easier than you think.
It doesn't take me any time at all. And the software I use to actually retrieve the data, you can actually pick up off a retail shelf. So it's really accessible to anybody.
So to guard against your information getting used against you,
Go by the Department of Defense standards to wipe it 3 times to completely destroy any data.
so everything's really wiped out. So when you trade in your older unit, just deleting won't do.
Anybody could get a hold of stuff.
Really trash that hard drive so your information doesn't become someone else's treasure.
We've got several things that kind of stand out at Blue Ridge Community College.
Blue Ridge Community College
So it's a functional motility disorder.
is well known for nursing
Cosmetology program is just unbelievable.
and has an entire wing for styling hair. But students here have a new calling, a new career
The sound of racing.
in the pits.
I'm definitely the front tire changer. And I've just found that I have a knack for taking off those lugs.
Stacy McKinnon enrolled here as an auto mechanic, but found her place in an after-school club.
This NASCAR thing came up and I was like, this is even perfect because I'm obsessed with NASCAR.
There it is. You got it. Go.
Only girl on a 12-man team.
She was worried, you know, does a woman really have a place in this sport? And we said, heck yeah, you have a place in this sport.
You just witnessed her personal best,
I was 16-8.
which on this team isn't nearly good enough.
I got beat by a girl. That's good for me, yeah. Wanna go, girl? Yeah!
Let the nerves begin.
I mean, our goal really, I think, coming in as a first-year team, not focusing on a championship. We want to focus on winning races.
Dwayne Lake, owner of the Western Union Busch Series team,
We definitely would like to win at least 2 races this year out of this shop.
built his shop in Fletcher, just a few miles from the school.
And there's 2,500 kids there, and I'm like, I know I can get a pit crew, pull a pit crew out of that place.
You ready? Go!
The best teams change all 4 tires in just 14 seconds.
There you go. Get it out of your way.
As you can see, I'm out of breath.
Blue Ridge made the grade.
16.5. See how much time you picked up?
The guys on TV make it look a lot easier.
The opening race of the 2006 NASCAR Busch Series.
The first test is the biggest stage in sports, Daytona, the Hershey's Kissables 300.
Just like Danica Patrick's the only IndyCar driver, the only girl IndyCar driver, I'm going to be first pit crew girl.
Quick, quick, quick.
And it's the team's first disappointment. Blue Ridge would be fast enough, but Dwayne's car didn't qualify.
Trial and error, that's what it's all about.
Pit road is open, and here comes just about everybody.
With 34 more races,
These guys are like the greatest.
the team still believes it can win.
If it weren't for these guys, I wouldn't have stuck with it.
The students are ready for a test.
It is a team sport.
Gordon Dill, WYFF News 4, Flat Rock.
Sure is the rise of another warm dawn.
It's an icon of Myrtle Beach.
This whole place will move.
Some of the rides make you scared.
Just off the beach, deep-fried, summertime set in motion. She just turned 58, and the Myrtle Beach Pavilion still drew about 400,000 paying customers last year.
My favorite ride is the log ride.
Taking a spin through some endless childhood.
It made me feel younger, too.
Back in about 60.
Raising the pulse.
Riding a roller coaster.
Of an old summer romance.
You know, all cooched up.
Well, we hate to see it go.
When it's gone, I'm going to be sad.
It's going to be an era lost.
Pretty magical time.
It's been a long love affair between this old place and Jack Thompson.
I felt the pulse of the pavilion.
Across that half-century, Jack's made the fun hold perfectly still.
For those 50 years, I have been within 1,000 yards of that pavilion. This is Myrtle Beach prior to any high-rises.
He made a living shooting pictures of the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand.
The highest thing during these days was the church steeples.
And watching the pavilion rise from a little dance hall,
which is where most all the shaggers got their start,
into this roller coaster Riviera.
It's sad to say that Myrtle has become an old lady, a grand old lady.
And her sand has turned to gold. Vertical money by the mile. Come September, when the corporate owners close this down for some new thing,
create a historic district.
Jack will keep campaigning to save the old 1948 building, a near original.
Remodel and save that wonderful landmark.
The bottom line remains the pavilion is cruising through its final few weeks here along the Strand, which was not nearly so grand when Jack Thompson first set foot here. You see, he hitchhiked here from Greenville with a couple of friends back in 1951. He was 13. One of those boys was a guy named Carroll, who went on to become known as Governor Carroll Campbell.
We had $2.71 between us.
There they are again, 38 years later. And yes, that is the Reverend Billy Graham. Both boys would grow to look some fame in the eye.
Bathing beauties.
But Jack focused on good fortune.
Those photographs are treasured memories today.
In the eyes of regular folks.
That is the heartbeat of Myrtle Beach.
Right near that pavilion glow, he might have caught it in your mom, or dad, or granddad. In that old building he wants to save, Jack ran a little photo booth.
My photo stand was right here in this corner.
Captured at least 100,000 faces of that summer fun for a quarter a shot.
It's a nostalgic feeling that it's hard to explain. To know that you lived that.
Long after these lights go out, he expects to hear how a little old portrait can still move a child at heart.
When I run into people who have been here, they say, man, my most treasured photograph is the one you made it to Pavilion.
Come September, something new will begin to dawn on this place.
I will be nursing a heartbreak.
And a man will wake from a summer's dream 50 years long.
I feel like that I have finally grown up.
Sure as a sandcastle wears away, a memory of what used to be will rise.
The kid in me still lives in that magical era.
And prove even an old summer romance.
I'd rather not grow up.
Will move you.
I would rather still live in that magical world.